Hello. Probably wearing too much makeup. I try not to wear it at all anymore. But yeah, being silly probably to do that. All right. Enough about the ego. I've been meaning to make a video just talking about telekinesis. I wouldn't even call it that. I was calling it Vrilekinesis, a combination of the word Vril, right, with that. However, I don't know quite a word that would capture it because there's a lot of things that are. Well, I'm just going to rewind. I have made videos talking about this. Some of it might be out there somewhere on an old channel, but a lot of things are shut down or whatever. So, sorry, I didn't really plan this too good. I was like, oh, I'll make a video really fast. I'm about to go see my daughter do a little play or whatever, and they're like, you might want to be more presentable because I was and laid back sweatpants, that kind of thing. So I was like, all right, I'll put a skirt on and even put a little makeup on. So here I am, and I thought, well, I have a bit of time before I get it. And I thought, well, I will make a video talking about this if anyone's interested. And basically, so I've had things happen my whole life. It's not going to be too long of a video because it's going to take a while and probably a series of videos to talk about different things. But I've had things that have happened my whole life, like little things like basically leading up to this. Pretty amazing things too. Just little stuff that, whether or some larger things, like size is irrelevant, right? What is size? But things as small, for example, as like 7th grade. I remember seeing this alarm clock, the alarm clock by the bed, and the numbers just came right off of the clock. So that's why I say it's not even telekinesis. I know that sounds like an acid trip or crazy as fuck, right? That is part, and there's other reasons why I would hesitate to call it telekinesis. And also that I don't feel that I myself am consciously asking anything to move. Now I can willingly intend and ask something if it wants to, for example, go more to the left or go more to the right. And sorry, some messages are coming through. I'm trying to take it off the screen. But basically, to larger things like being levitated off the bed when I was 16 in a house it was my sister's. I was staying with her for a while, one of my sisters, and that house is now Rancho Minerva in Vista. It's a museum, and I could talk about that whole other thing, but just different little things like that. Seeing fairies and stuff like that. No one believed it. Like, are you kidding? Are you just trying to say that to get attention? So I remember when I was little, actually, every night when I'd go to bed, and it would just move, like slowly moving. What happens now? And I remember telling, though it was so vague, like talking to them. That's kind of a blurry memory of trying to tell my mom and dad. My mom especially. I remember being upset, angry, calling me just things. Kind of her pastor, very religious, upbringing. Her pastor would call me like a witch, and I didn't even know. Like, what are you talking about, right? I wasn't glamorizing being a witch. Like I didn't hate it either. I didn't really care for church by any means. I was the only child who never went up to the altar to get saved. My mom abandoned me several times because she said I was a heathen and stuff like that. So most of that just went over my head. I didn't understand because what they spoke of being in your heart, I would say, but I have that in my heart. And they'd say, not unless the pastor prays over you. This wasn't supposed to be a whole thing about my past, but anyway, so a couple years back, I was visiting my sons, and the visit got cut short from their dad having to, whatever, it was what it is. And and I was just like, hey, I was really sad, basically. Wow. I was really sad because obviously it sucks to not have as much time, right? And I had things planned and I wanted to do with them, and a little place I was going to take them to eat that night. And I had a hotel room I'd rented for us in like Encinitas area. I was trying to also take them to that self-realization temple. Just, it's a nice place to walk. There's koi fish and stuff. Really beautiful, actually. I've gone there. I went there a lot when I was a kid, just, or I'd say a teenager, because my mom would never go to a place like that. Um, I lived with mom for a while. I lived with my dad. I lived with my sisters. It's just been grandparents, even briefly, and stuff like that. But I had enough opportunity to enjoy it, and it was amazing. So I didn't get to, because it was closed actually one of the times we tried, and I was really sad because I wanted to still experience this, and I was crying my eyes out in the hotel room. And they had also left this little thing on accident because it was like a flurry when they left. They had left this a little like metal. It's kind of like a washer but different. It had little prongs on it. I've actually never to this day been able to find one just like it because I wanted to make another one. So sometimes I tinker with stuff, like I'll take apart, like someone's gonna throw a radio away or something, and I will open it up and find the magnets out of it and make little tiny like little dolls, or also make little miniature dolls out of those wooden uh, clothesliners and stuff. But yeah, just anyway, we made the my daughter and I had made this little. It looked like a little spider, little a little bug, because it had 4 legs, not 8. But we called it root beer. We named it root beer, and it was just our love poured into it to give to them, our brothers, as a gift, and they loved it. And it accidentally got forgotten. When I say we made it, we just added like a little something small on it, like a little jewel or whatever. It wasn't a real jewel, but we had made it just a little specialized, and it was very simple. It was actually kind of a very flat, thin donut shaped. It had a hole in the center, and like I said, little prongs for legs. Well, they left it on the center, the little stand, like nightstand that's between the 2 beds, and I look over in the peripheral view of my eyes. I'm just crying, and I look over, and I thought maybe at first it was like blurry because of the tears in my eyes. This little root beer was moving and walking around. Its little tiny legs, and it touched my heart so much. Like it was right, kind of crazy, right? But not. I realized I'm really seeing this. I'm not on drugs. I don't do drugs. I've only done ever a few things ever in my life. I don't need it. And so just so you know, it was blowing my mind. So then I realized other things were happening in the room, like the sheets and the bed sheets and the bed skirts were, they'd move and they were kind of reaching towards me, like flowing. One of the things I saw, which I haven't seen to this day, not at least to the extent I did that day, though things have happened since then that are larger, more grand, if you will, experiences, but there's been a lot that's happened. But it was the only time that this particular thing that happened. Literally, the seam along one of the sheets was glowing, like and it where the stitches are, like zigzag stitches within the seam that's folded. It was almost like it was moving, like a living long snake almost or something, and it was beautiful. It was crazy, and just things were moving all around. And so I took my camera, like, and started filming. I didn't sleep that whole night. I haven't really slept much since then, honestly, but I do sleep better now somewhat, especially just getting away from areas and peoples who try to bring you down and hurt you, basically. So I'm doing better. But at the time I just wanted to video it, like, let me film this and see if I can see it on the camera too, or am I like totally going mad, right? And sure enough, like it was apparent on my video. I tried to share a lot of those, and again, I don't know if on the other end it's actually even going through. I don't think a lot of times it is, because there's been times where I had filmed like coins. I just dropped them directly on the ground and let the coins just do their thing and move. So you could see it wasn't like a preset scene with strings, because that's, some people would say that. Actually, when they say that, it was kind of a compliment, because they thought at least it was acknowledgement that they saw something moving. You know what I mean? And so it sucks that they thought I was faking. Like, I don't, why would I want to fake that? And they don't need attention. And if I was gonna be like a fake telekinesis, I think I'd make it like some obvious thing more. And this is very small things that people would normally not have the patience to even watch. So, anyways, I just realized this is really happening. And the whole next day, like on the train, and the coaster, and the train ride and stuff, little things were happening. And I just want to share. There's a lot. There's so much. For example, in one of the lobby rooms or whatever, and like the stations that you wait to transfer and whatnot, it was a train station. There was a giant hanging, almost like pendulum, so to speak, a light, right, like a chandelier, and it had a huge mural, and somewhere in California, up north, I think, and it had like a stiff pole from the ceiling, all aligned with the chain that it was hanging from, like connected, so that it wouldn't. It was like earthquake proof or whatever, so it wouldn't swing or anything. And I would remember, and I'm just sitting there, and it would start to swing like a pendulum, just doing this sort of circular. And I would try to like. This is funny. I would try to look away from it and see if it would move because it was just moving. But then if I tried to peek and see, like I'd be like peek in the corner of my eye, it would be moving. And I was wondering, is it me making it move? Because if I take my eyes off of it, is it still moving or not? I wouldn't know. All kinds of stuff like this. Like throughout the last couple of years, out of all the things that have happened, I just started to realize a pattern of things that would happen. And I've tried different things like little salt crystals, like pouring that on the table, seeing if something as minute as that, or something in water or whatever. So different things have happened. But generally speaking, sorry, I'm getting more notifications coming in. Generally speaking, things just happen as they do. Um, and the main thing that happens more than anything is what I've said before. I made songs about it too, but a slow motion jump is the best way I can describe it. Things actually start to kind of first go like a little bit side to side. Sometimes they'll tremble, and then it will just barely go up and down like that. And then eventually it just won't go down. It will hover, or it just stays up longer and longer. And so anyways, when I was a little girl, every night I would pretend that I was going to like Germany or somewhere across the sea, like to visit, um like where my great grandma Saskia came from, Czechoslovakia or something. She was actually a child slave, and the Holodomor, her parents were murdered. That's another story. But anyway, I would just imagine going somewhere, but it was always on like on a ship or on a boat, because I think of the motion that I'd feel. It was like this gentle, calming sort of. And anyways, that's crazy, right? Well, I kind of blocked a lot of that in my mind, but that was every night. And what I do is I even have a cup of water, glass of water, and sometimes if I was able, I'd get a piece of like that raw sprout bread, yeah, like living grain bread and stuff. Usually, if my dad, depending, my mom was like horrible health. My dad was a little more health conscious, so I would take a little bit as it for my journey. Oh, this is getting too long. I have to stop filming because over 15 minutes, it's like challenging more to upload. And I can't believe it's turning this long already. Okay, so basically every night it it happens, and I to share that more. I've had videos that are absolutely astounding and very obvious, and there's been nights and things and days. It can happen in a day anywhere really, but where it's it's huge. I'm just laying there, and then like I suddenly kind of look around because everything's moving in the whole room, and it'll be up larger, like rather large. So that's why I say Vrilekinesis, because sounds like I started thinking about the Vril women, and maybe there's something to this. Maybe they were what made it hover. Maybe the Vimana was maybe a lot of things. So okay, I have to stop filming, but Hare Krishna, and thank you, Flat Earth fam and friends, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. All right, we'll be in touch, and I will make more videos in the near future about this. Okay, if anyone wants to